Thank you so much for joining me, Liz Chapman, for another episode of Talkin Trashy. You may notice we're not in the studio today. We are on site at the Aspen Recycling Center, the Rio Grande Recycle Center. The Rio Grande Recycle Center has served the Aspen community for decades, and it has undergone many changes in that time, and we've changed again. The Rio Grande Recycle Center is no longer a single stream facility. We still accept things to be recycled, we just don't accept all the things that we were recycling before. Single stream recycling, which is when you can recycle plastic, mixed paper, metals, cardboard, glass. You can still do that single stream recycling where you put all those materials at your home, your business, or at the Pitkin County landfill. All of the private haulers here in Aspen and in Pitkin County provide recycling service bundled with trash service. So if you've got trash service, you've got a way to recycle plastics and mixed paper along with the other recyclables at your home. Here at the Recycle Center, we're limiting what we take. You can bring metals and recycle them here in a separate container. You can also bring glass and put it in the container that's marked glass. You can also bring that thing we all have so much of, which is cardboard boxes, and you recycle that. But here at the Rio Grande Recycle Center, you cannot drop off plastic or mixed paper. Mixed paper, plastics, along with these recyclables, can be combined in single stream recycling, which is what your private hauler provides at your home or business, and what you can do at the Pitkin County Landfill Recycle Center. So now, let's take a minute and have a look at what you can recycle at the Rio Grande Recycle Center in Aspen. First thing we want to look at is cardboard. That's the thing people have so much of. You can recycle cardboard at your single stream at the curb, but we often hear from people they have so much cardboard they don't have room for it at their home or business recycling. So we've got a cardboard container here at the Rio Grande Recycle Center. You'll notice it's marked, it says corrugated cardboard. It says you can leave flattened boxes, brown paper, and brown paper bags. That can all go in the cardboard container. Cannot leave newspaper, junk mail, magazines, or paperboard. All of those materials can be recycled in your single stream, but they cannot be recycled here. What cannot go? Newspapers, junk mail, magazines, envelopes, cereal boxes, pizza boxes. None of these things can be put into the cardboard container. You can recycle these things at home in your single stream recycling. What can be recycled here are cardboard boxes, paper bags, and brown paper packaging. Let's look at how we put that cardboard into this container. Okay, here are the things that can go into the cardboard container. We've got brown paper packing and brown paper bags. Those can go in. Also, we have cardboard boxes. The important piece with a cardboard box is you gotta be sure you break it down. Whether you're using an X-Acto knife or you're stomping on it with your feet, we need you to make these cardboard boxes flat before you stick them into the cardboard container. You flatten the box, it goes in the container. Special note, pizza boxes cannot be recycled, not at single stream and not at the Rio Grande Recycle Center. But what you can do is you can put your pizza box in your compost. If you're not part of the compost program, please visit our website, cityofaspen.com, and we'll give you more information and give you a place to put those pizza boxes. But they can't be recycled.
Hi, I'm Jessie Janae, and this is Shipping Things. Today, we want to talk about sustainability and packaging. So, we're headed to a box factory. But before we go, let's get the skinny on box sustainability. It's sustainable, but exactly how sustainable? Well, over 90% of all corrugated is actually recycled and put back into the stream. And that means that the average box that's produced is over 40% recycled content. Those stats are really strong. Are you ready? Let's go. All right, guys, here we are at the U.S. Corrugated facility. It's just southeast of Los Angeles in Santa Fe Springs. Here they make and print boxes and focus a lot on sustainability through renewable resources, which is why we came straight to them when we wanted to find out about the cutting edge high-tech stuff going on in the box world. This place is huge. When you imagine a box factory, this is probably not what you think of. Everything here is immaculate. There's no dust or piles of scrap sitting around. Why? Because they recycle everything. It's so cool, guys. They have tubes all over the facility that suck up the paper scrap and take it to another place that processes it. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself, guys. Why don't we rewind and I'll start the story from the beginning. As you may or may not know, boxes start just as paper. Huge, massive, giant 6,000-pound rolls of paper. These rolls are delivered to US Corrugated and fed into this machine, the corrugator. Wait a sec, this actually calls for a flub alert. You may have gone your whole life calling this stuff cardboard, but you are wrong, my friend. That's just actually straight up wrong. Cardboard is actually the thin material that makes up things like cereal boxes, but this is corrugated made out of paper. Sometimes people call it corrugated cardboard, but if you're talking to anyone in the biz, they're just gonna say corrugated. To make corrugated, sheets of craft paper are fed into the corrugator machine. The corrugator at US Corp runs 53,000 lineal feet every hour. 3 sheets run through the length of the machine at the same time. The middle layer is the corrugated layer. It's the one that's crimped to give support to the final board. To get this S shape, the paper is steamed and pressed onto a wavy cylinder called a cartridge. That's what gives you your fluting. Then that corrugated sheet is glued between 2 liner sheets and runs through a dryer. Each sheet running through the corrugator is being produced for a specific job. At the end of the corrugator, that machine can actually cut and score corrugated. But if it needs to be printed or any other finishing, it needs to head on over to the next machine. Check this out, guys. This is US Corrugated's flexographic printing press. Each of these bays is a different color, and these machines can print up to 350 boxes per minute. With the boxes printed, all that's left is to cut and score them so that they're ready to use. That happens with these giant rotary cutting dies. They're mounted to cylinders inside the machine, and the printed sheets run through and come out the other end cut and scored. But wait a sec, what happens to all that excess corrugate coming out the bottom? I'm so glad you asked, because that's where my favorite giant vacuum tubes come in. When you're cutting and scoring thousands of boxes, there's a lot of discarded corrugated. So at this facility, giant metal pipes, my fave, suck up discarded board from various points of the line, and it all ends up here at the baler. Scrap sheets of corrugated are compressed into 1,400-pound bales, and then US Corp ships and sells them as OCC. By the way, guys, OCC, wait for it, stands for Old Corrugated Container. Here at US Corp, they ship 22 tons of OCC every couple days to be recycled. I'm telling you, next to nothing goes to waste in this place. They recycle plastic, metal, energy, and even water. Their conservation is award-winning and kind of mind-boggling. They have solar panels on the whole roof to help run the facility, and they have 2 pretty incredible water conservation machines. One that filters out solids from the facility's wastewater, and another that turns that water into starch. The water is mixed with starch and borax and used in the corrugator to actually glue the sheets of paper together to make corrugate. Talk about full circle. It kind of blows my mind, but there's so much more being recycled and reused in the box world than just paper. The other thing I find impressive, and I think is very important, is that facility we just visited, it's less than 30 minutes from Lumi HQ. We put a lot of effort into making sure that packaging is being produced as close as possible to where it's going to be used. And you should think about that when you think about the sustainability of your supply chain. Even though corrugated boxes are over 150 years old, there's still so much being done to innovate and make this process better for customers and the planet.
Now we've moved over to the glass-only bin. This is a bin where you can put all manner of glass. You can still recycle glass in your single-stream recycling at home or at the Pickens County landfill. But if you're going to come to the Rio Grande Recycle Center, you have to put glass bottles into the glass-only container. Now, one of the exciting changes that we've made here at the Rio Grande Recycle Center is we are now using a Colorado company called clear intentions. So not only can you put glass bottles like this into the glass container, but you can also put glass drinkware. You can't put glass drinkware in the single stream, limit it to single bottles, but if you're going to bring it to the Rio Grande, you can bring glass bottles, glass drinkware. You just cannot bring Pyrex, such as Pyrex cooking stuff or sheet glass. Windows are not welcome at this recycling. We've got a short little video to show you just how recyclable glass is.
In the old days, recycling glass meant turning it into this. Glass was recycled into what they called aggregate, which was used to cover landfills. Basically, the glass was turned back into sand. But today, because of technological advancements, more glass can be recycled back into glass.
The technology today allows us to sort glass in ways that would not be economical to do manually. The first step is to remove small metal objects that are in there with a magnet. After going through that process, the material will go to a eddy current, essentially a reverse magnet, which will charge any non-ferrous metals in there, aluminum, bits of copper, and so on, with an electric charge, and those non-ferrous metals are then ejected from the stream. We then go to a series of optical sorters. The optical sorters are identifying the glass by color, ejecting the clear glass with air jets. What's remaining are clear glasses conveyed into a bunker, stored there until it's loaded into trucks to be shipped to glass bottle manufacturers.
We just can't get enough glass. We use approximately 150 tons of recycled glass daily, and we will use that to make new bottles. We receive that recycled glass, and it is mixed as you would mix a cake. It goes into a very large furnace, heated at 2,700 degrees, and turns into a molten glass. That molten glass is cured through a process and then is delivered to our forming machines. You will see that glass being cut into drops or gobs, and it is formed immediately into a glass container. It will go out on a conveyor, going through an oven, go through a lengthy inspection process automatically. The beauty of recycling is that if you purchase on the streets of New York, for example, a Snapple bottle, when turned back into a recycling bin, we'll make another Snapple bottle.
I'm ready
Oh,
to point at the sign and
we are?
do some dialogue.
oh, okay.
So the metals bin at the Rio Grande Recycling Center takes the cans that you're used to putting in your single stream recycling, and you can keep putting those cans in the single stream recycling, just be sure you rinse them out. But at the Rio Grande Recycle Center, there's more. You can do other household metals like hangers, broken file cabinet, that dog kennel that's not working anymore. Oops, I ran over my toolbox. If it's mostly metal and it's relatively small, you can put it into the big red container at the Rio Grande Recycle Center. You cannot put electronics in here. Please don't put any sort of cables. And this is not for construction waste. The red metal bin is for residential metals, not for construction waste. If you've got construction waste, you can recycle it, but you have to go to the Pitkin County Landfill Recycle Center to recycle construction materials. Another big change at the Rio Grande Recycle Center is the way we recycle metals. you can still recycle the aluminum foil, and tin cans that you're used to recycling at your single stream. You can recycle all of these materials in single stream. Be sure, whether you're recycling this stuff at home or recycling it at the Rio Grande Recycle Center, you give it a nice rinse before you put it into the bin. So you can recycle tin cans, aluminum cans, clean aluminum foil, but at the Rio Grande Recycle Center, unlike single stream, you can also recycle other household metals. Say you've got some pipes, you started a project, didn't need all the pipe, you don't know what to do with it, you can put it into our big, red bin at the recycle center. Other things like shelving that might have a little bit of plastic or rubber on it, if it's mostly metal and it's a small household item, you can put it in the metal recycling bin. What we can't do are big things like washer dryers or water heaters. That sort of stuff still needs to go to the Pitkin County landfill scrap recycling. But if you've got some household or office items that are almost all metal and they don't work anymore, you can bring it to our Trinity recycling bin at the Rio Grande Recycle Center. Metal is highly recyclable. It's been one of the first things we've recycled, and it's very energy efficient. Let's look at a video that tells us more about metal recycling.
Every day, Americans go through more than 1 million pounds of aluminum. But for much of this mega material, it won't be its first time around.
It's so recyclable. About 2/3 of the aluminum that's ever been made is still in existence.
While it may take a lot of power to make aluminum, once aluminum oxide is stripped of its oxygen atoms, metallic aluminum is incredibly stable. That means it can be melted down and reused again and again, forever.
Aluminum is like a pig. Nothing goes to waste. Everything's recycled.
Recycled cans wind up in a place like this, Anheuser-Busch Recycling Corp. In Hayward, California.
About 6,000 pounds in there. We're gonna open these doors. Cans are just gonna fall out. After he dumps all this, I'll get my guy, Robin. We'll just push these cans up, push them on the conveyor. We got Jose up there sorting material.
Every loose scrap of paper, piece of steel, or plastic, anything that's not aluminum, needs to be removed.
We try to do the best inspection we can, so we ship these to the mills, get the best loads out that we can.
After inspection, the loose cans fall into the crusher, where a massive hydraulic press crunches them into bales that are perfectly square. Then they're shipped off to the smelter.
They're going to be melted down and made into new aluminum can sheet.
And here's a staggering fact to ponder with friends over a beer. In less than 3 months, an aluminum can circulates once through its life cycle.
That can be all the way through that closed loop system and back in your refrigerator 60 to 90 days later, filled with a new beverage.
All while using much less energy. In Australia, smelters alone consume 10% of the nation's total power. So by recycling, you cut the demand for electricity, and that reduces greenhouse gas emissions.
Recycling an aluminum can saves about 95% of the energy required to make a can out of virgin materials.
We're really excited about the year-round availability of yard waste at the Rio Grande Recycle Center. You may be familiar with the fact that leaves and grass have often been a drop-off point at the Recycle Center seasonally. Now we're going to be able to do it year-round. Very excited about that. So loose grass, loose leaves can go into the yard waste bin. What cannot go are plastic bags. We ask you to empty out those grass and leaves. Take this plastic bag and throw it away. You can't put food in here. You can't put lumber, soil, or branches. All we can take right now in the yard waste bin is grass and leaves, But we can take the grass and leaves year-round. And all you have to do is you take your container, make sure that this plastic bag is not part of what you put in here, empty your grass, your leaves into the bin, and come back when you have more. The Pickens County landfill is an amazing compost facility. They take this grass and leaves along with food waste and some other organic materials, and they use science, water, turning, some labor, and they turn that stuff into a great soil amendment. And what I mean by that is we take these compostables, we compost them, and then we have a nutritious thing that you can combine in your home garden, on your lawn, to grow luscious green plants. This facility at the Pickens County landfill that composts this yard waste is tested by the U.S. Compost Council. It's very inexpensive, and it's one of the few things that we can process and fully recycle right here in Pickens County. Just remember, we cannot have plastic bags in the yard waste bin, and right now we can only accept grass and leaves. You need to take your branches and shrubbery out to the Pickens County landfill for composting there. Another note, this yard waste, this is for residents. This is not for landscapers or commercial waste. Landscapers and commercial places that collect yard waste, they need to take that out to the Pickens County landfill and have it composted there. Something that hasn't changed at the Rio Grande Recycle Center is we're still accepting clothing and shoes for recycling. Just like you've been doing all along, you want to take your bags, put your clothing in one bag, put your shoes in a separate bag, close up those bags, and then bring it to the white and green bin that's marked for clothing and shoes. This is done with a company called US Again. So you put your clothing in a bag, you put your shoes in a separate bag, you bring it to the white and green bin and put it inside. Please remember that you cannot recycle carpet or rugs, anything that doesn't fit into the category of clothing and shoes. Definitely no pillows, definitely no bath mats. Clothing and shoes in separate bags in the US Again bin. Now sometimes you get here to the Rio Grande Recycle Center and the clothing bin is full. There's just no more room to put stuff in there. If you ever get here and the clothing bin is full, please don't leave materials on the ground. You can get fined for that. It's against the rules to leave anything on the pavement at the Rio Grande Recycle Center. Either come back the next day when we've had a chance to empty it, or you can bring those clothing and shoes to the Pickens County landfill where they will also get them recycled. US Again does all of the recycling of these textiles, and they've got an informative video that tells us more about how that system works.
Give your clothes a second life with Use Again. Every day, 30,000 tons of clothes are thrown away in the U.S., polluting and wasting resources, increasing greenhouse gas emissions, and accelerating climate change. The U.S. EPA estimates that 85% of all clothing is trashed, and only 15% is reused or recycled. Use Again, a for-profit company, provides a simple, eco-friendly solution to recycle those unwanted textiles and help the environment at the same time. Clean out your cluttered closets of those surplus clothes, shoes, and household textiles, and visit www.useagain.com to find the nearest textile recycling bin for easy drop-off. Bins are conveniently located in partnership with schools, businesses, and recycling facilities near you, and most are accessible 24/7, 365 days a year to fit your schedule. Simply drop off your clothes in Tide bags, and you've helped us create a greener environment. What happens to the items you've dropped off? Well, people around the world happily reuse much of the clothes and shoes as secondhand clothing. As many as 70% of people in the world wear secondhand clothes. The items that are damaged are turned into wiping rags or insulation material. The bottom line is that by recycling with Use Again, you help create jobs, conserve resources, and reduce water and air pollution. Use Again supports many initiatives for a better environment, so we can all breathe a little easier. When you recycle your clothes with Use Again in 2013, you helped plant over 200,000 trees. These trees remove climate-changing greenhouse gases from the atmosphere, equal to taking 5,000 cars off the roads. Be part of the Use Again movement. Find your nearest textile recycling bin at useagain.com. Thank you for recycling.
One more thing that's staying the same at the Rio Grande Recycle Center is our ability to recycle household batteries. Things like 9-volt batteries, AA batteries, those can still be brought to the recycle center and we will recycle them. We do ask that you put a little bit of tape over those 9-volt batteries. 9-volt batteries might have just enough electricity left in them that it could start a fire. So when you bring 9-volt batteries to be recycled, please put a little tape over those ends. Otherwise, you take your household batteries and you stick them into the household battery bin. You can also recycle household batteries at the Pitkin County landfill. We do not accept car batteries or large batteries or computer batteries. So think about the things that you buy at the store and stick into something. Rechargeable works, all types of household batteries can be recycled, not car batteries, not computer batteries. Those need to be taken to the Pitkin County landfill. Thank you so much for joining me, Liz Chapman, for another episode of Talkin Trashy. I hope you've learned about the changes at the Rio Grande Recycle Center, where instead of single stream, we now have cardboard, year-round yard waste, household metals, and glass. Remember, the Rio Grande Recycle Center does not accept plastics or mixed paper. We rely on your personal hauler to take that single stream recycling or the Pitkin County landfill. If you have any questions, I can be reached at liz.chapman@cityofaspen.com or 970-429-1831. Thank you so much for recycling.